The Miami Heat lose to the Utah Jazz tonight, 109-117 in Salt Lake City. The Miami Heat were shorthanded and they ended up losing two more players in this game tonight. So, not a good night for the Miami Heat. Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat basketball channel. My name is Amir. Before I get into the video today, I just want to thank everybody for their continued support. If you could please hit subscribe and subscribe to the channel, that would mean a lot to me. I'm on my path to 500 subscribers, so I'm getting really close. So thank you again for your support. So the Miami Heat lost tonight, and the big story tonight was not only losing to the Jazz, who were like the 12th seed in the West, who were 13 and 19 before tonight. They're 14 and 19 now. But the big story tonight was that the Miami Heat lost Jimmy Butler in the third quarter, I believe, to a foot injury. So Jimmy Butler had missed 4 consecutive games with a calf injury. He's missed around 8 games total so far this season. And in the third quarter, he had a collision with Colin Sexton, who drove to the basket, and Jimmy got called for essentially a blocking foul, and Jimmy limped off the court and went straight into the locker room with that apparent foot injury. And so not sure what the status is of that injury, but he left the game and did not come back. He played a total of 23 minutes in his return. And so unfortunate that he did get banged up. Hopefully it's not too serious, but the Heat usually like to be cautious when their players get injuries. Players like Hero and Bam have both missed a lot of games this year, and I think the Heat were just trying to be overly cautious to a certain degree. And so sucks that Jimmy's hurt again. He was on pace to play 60 games or so this season. It looks like that's going to be possibly in the 50s now, especially if he doesn't play for the rest of this road trip. So they are going to be playing against the Clippers and Lakers and Suns on this West Coast trip. So the Heat are now 1-1 on this trip so far, and losing Butler sucks. They also lost Haywood Highsmith, who has been in and out of the starting rotation, and he missed games at the beginning of the year with a knee injury that he sustained in the preseason. So he also was a part of a huge collision with Colin Sexton, and he got hit in like the head/neck region, and he looks like he got some sort of contusion or concussion, most likely a concussion. He was trying to stand up after the play. He was actually on the ground for quite a while, but after the Heat called the timeout, he was trying to stand up and he almost fell over. So hoping that Haywood is okay, and I'm sure he's going to be going into concussion protocol, but I hope it's not too serious. But it's unfortunate that we lost him as well. He's obviously one of our good 3-and-D type players, more so D, defensively obviously minded. But yeah, it's like anytime we gain a player back, we seem to always lose someone, which is horrible right now because the Heat have lost Caleb Martin to an ankle injury recently. Kyle Lowry has been out for a few games, and Josh Richardson's been out for a handful of games as well. And it was nice to get Jimmy and Haywood both back because they both were out. Haywood also had a tailbone injury as well from a fall earlier this year where he missed like 3 games or 4 games. So just tough loss in general, but tough to lose 2 more players. But yeah, for tonight's game, super annoying game. The Miami Heat lose to one of the worst teams in the West. Young, up-and-coming team potentially. But yeah, just a game they should not have lost. I know it's a road game, and the Jazz have some good pieces, but defensively, they're a really bad team. In terms of turnovers, they turn over the ball the most in the NBA, but somehow the Miami Heat, who usually are good with not turning the ball over, had more turnovers than the Jazz, which is quite frustrating. But it was a close game. I mean, all throughout the game until just the very end. The Heat were up, I would say, for most of the game by a few points, but it was always back and forth, tons of lead changes. The Heat were up by I think 6 to 8 points was the most in the 3 quarters, and then the Jazz came back in the fourth because the Miami Heat, of course, played bad in the fourth quarter like they typically do. The Jazz outscored them 29-21. So another quarter that the Miami Heat have lost in the fourth quarter, which is horrible. The new third quarter. But yeah, just not great defense from the Miami Heat. A lot of turnovers, horrible shooting from three. Those are some of the main reasons why we lost tonight. And it's tough, but it happens. And, the Heat did play decently throughout the game. Again, like Bam Adebayo kind of came out hot. So did Tyler Hero in the first quarter and second quarter. Hero had like 16 points in the first half. Bam had like 12. Hawkes didn't play well overall, but in the first quarter he played well. He had some good passes, a few assists, and I think 7 points in the first half. And then he went ice cold and had one of his worst games of his career, but it's okay. He's a rookie. So some things that I remember from the first quarter, just looking at some notes. So the Heat had a lot of early turnovers. Again, that's the story of the game. I think for the Miami Heat, one of the stories of the game was that they had 6 turnovers in the first 5.5 minutes right there. And they were only down by 2, I believe, going into the second quarter, which is astonishing that they were able to stay that close, which shows the Jazz aren't that great of a team because they turned the ball over maybe like once in that first quarter. So early turnovers were big. Tyler Hero got blocked on his first shot attempt, which was a layup. Like, he gets blocked more than any other guard that I've seen. It feels like this season, especially on the Heat, of course, but maybe in the NBA. Like, he's 6'5", he's got some athleticism, so I'm surprised why he gets blocked all the time at the rim. But he also, in the game, got blocked at the rim when he was going up for a dunk attempt. What's his name on the Jazz? Was it O'Shea Ogbogby? I can't even remember how to say his name. It is, Agbaji from Kansas. Yeah, he just went up, contested Tyler Hero's attempt, and just blocked the shit out of him. Like, it was beautiful. Like, sucked to see that happen. That would have been awesome if Tyler posterized him, but huge athleticism from him, and he got this awesome block on Tyler Hero, which was pretty embarrassing. But yeah, so overall, the Heat played well in the first half, but they allowed the Jazz to keep it close by shooting really poorly from three, and again, a lot of turnovers. And the Jazz had a lot of offensive rebounds. I know the Heat out-rebounded them eventually overall, but just a weird game. If I'm looking at the stats right now, so the Heat shot 29% from three, which is horrible. They were 9 for 31. Jazz were also horrible, 27%. They were 11 for 41. The overall field goal percentage, Jazz 43 for 93, 46%. Heat 44% at 34 to 78. So they got like almost 20 more shots than the Heat, which is bad. And so the Heat had 16 turnovers to the Jazz's 10, which is embarrassing. And it's just a weird game because the Heat had 40 free throws and they shot 80%, which is not great, 32 for 40. Jazz had 28 attempts. They hit 20 of those for 71%. And the Heat lost. The Heat have been 6-1 anytime they've shot 30 or more free throws. So 40 free throws, and they still lost, which is odd. And the Heat won the rebounding battle by a small margin, 46 to 43, still lost the game. So I think turnovers were an issue, second chance opportunities as well, not protecting the defensive glass and allowing the Jazz to get 9 boards offensively was an issue. So yeah, not a great game for the Miami Heat. Bam played really well, but he did have some turnovers. He had 4 turnovers, 7 for 13 from the field. He's been shooting like 12 to 13 per game since Jimmy's been absent. So want to see him take more attempts, but he did take a ton of attempts. Honestly, he did shoot a career high 20 free throws, but he only made 14. So he had some costly missed free throws kind of ruined some momentum there. But overall, I mean, can't complain about Bam. 28 points, 16 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks. So obviously this is not Bam's fault, even though he had some turnovers and missed free throws. He played great. Tyler Hero played good enough. 25 points, 6 boards, 6 assists, but 9 for 22 from the field. Not really efficient. 2 for 7 from 3. 1 block, 1 steal. Only 1 turnover, which was good to see. Tyler's been averaging like 3 to 4 turnovers like the past 10 games or so. So it was nice to see that he only had 1 tonight. Jimmy Butler only played 23 minutes, 8 points, 2 boards, 1 assist, 2 for 3 from the field, 4 for 4 from the line. So in the first 2 quarters, Jimmy basically was doing nothing, just like standing around. He didn't take his first shot until there's 3 minutes left in the second quarter. So he was disinterested coming off this, 4-game absence. I understand that if he wouldn't be as energetic or athletic as he would be normally, but and he must be a little rusty, but he just was standing around essentially and wasn't doing much in the first half. Second half, he only had 2 points going into halftime, and then in the third quarter he scored 6 points before he did get hurt. So started getting a little more aggressive, seeing that the game was too close for the Heat's liking against a crappy team. He started to step up a little bit until he got that injury, which is unfortunate. Who else? Haka, as I mentioned earlier, had probably his worst game of the season. 35 minutes, but he only had 9 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 2 for 9 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3. He was 5 for 5 from the line. So he's still getting to the line, which is great to see that he's getting those calls. Reason being so is that he is a very physical player. He's playing a lot in the down low in the post, back to the basket in that mid-range, in that low post area, and then also he's attacking the rim and driving to the rim. So he got some free throws, which is good, but he had a couple boneheaded turnovers. But he's a rookie. Again, don't expect him to be carefree completely, or not carefree, but like keeping control of the ball, I guess, and not making bad decisions every once in a while. So he didn't play the best. Duncan Robinson off the bench, 11 points, 4 boards, 4 rebounds, 4 for 8, 3 for 5 from 3. He played really well. I think he needed to put up more shots. I think he was passing a lot, which is fine, of course, obviously with the 4 assists. But yeah, he's becoming more of a playmaker and getting better on that pick and roll with Bam, which is great to see. But yeah, I think we needed a little more from Duncan. But overall, can't blame Duncan. Kevin Love played great. 20 minutes off the bench, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Not that efficient from 3, 2 for 8, but he was helping us for sure. And I guess something to talk about too as well, the Heat started RJ Hampton. Again, he's been playing and starting in place of Kyle Lowry. He only played 8 minutes, no points, just a couple boards, only took 1 shot. And he's fine. Like, he's not an offensive threat, and it looks like teams are going to leave him open and dare him to shoot 3-pointers. And he's capable of making them, but he's not the most effective 3-point shooter. And he's not really polished offensively. He's still pretty raw, but he is a good defender. Played a lot better in Golden State, but he only played 8 minutes, just filling up that spot for Kyle Lowry. We have no other point guards on our roster, so okay with that. And then Jovic, interestingly enough, he played his 5th game of the season only. He played only 10 minutes, and he looked okay. He was 2 for 2 from 3. He hit a really tough 3 in the corner in Larry Markkanen's face. 6 points, 2 boards, but he had 5 fouls. He's just, again, defensively looked okay, but he makes some weak, silly fouls at times. So didn't really get to play much because he was in foul trouble. So it was interesting to see Jovic get some minutes. Good to see him hit a couple shots again, in these back-to-back games, being able to score and have that confidence to do that, which is good. And in his limited minutes, the Heat actually allowed him to bring up the ball for most of his time in the first quarter versus RJ Hampton, who's the point guard. So it's good to see that Spo is trying to play to his strengths. He's better playing on ball versus off ball, and he is kind of a pass first type player right now. He knows his role, and he's not going to do anything stupid where he's going to be taken out immediately. So he's trying to pass the ball, set up his teammates, set screens, get rebounds, and he'll take the occasional shot when he needs to. So good to see him get some opportunities. And there was one play in particular where he threw a threat of a pass to Jimmy Butler on a cut, and Jimmy was able to get the basket at the rim, which was nice. So, yeah, tough game overall. Again, tonight, losing to the Jazz. The story for the Jazz was Kelly Olynyk, former Miami Heat player, KO, who I used to like, obviously, on the Heat. Hate him now. No, I'm just kidding. I don't hate KO. But frustrating to see KO, who's not that amazing, obviously, not that great of a player. Good role player, but he had 21 off the bench. So this was his, or 19, excuse me. He had 19 off the bench, but this was his second highest output in terms of points this season. He had 19 points, 6 boards, 10 assists, 8 for 12 shooting. So crushed us. Didn't hit any threes. Is a capable 3-point shooter, but he killed us off the bench. It was the bench that mainly killed us. Keontae George, rookie, who got picked 14th overall ahead of Jaime, killed us. 21 points, 6 boards, 2 assists, 6 for 10 overall, 5 for 8 from 3. Had, I believe, 13 points in the fourth quarter, hit a few threes. He's a 30% 3-point shooter. So that crushed us. Kessler played great off the bench, 10 points, 8 boards, 5 for 5, couple blocks. Clarkson, only 3 for 10 from the field behind 9 points. So their bench did really good. As for their starters, Colin Sexton killed us in the first half. He had 16 points in the first half, 22 overall. He was 8 for 14 from the field, and he was just lightning quick and got to the rim anytime he wanted in that first half. And he was playing great. John Collins played okay, 10 points, 6 boards, nothing special. Lauri Markkanen played pretty bad. He had 12 points, 5 boards, 1 for 8 from 3, 4 for 13 overall. And then Fontecchio, some dude never even heard of, had 12 points, 7 boards, 2 assists. So he played really well. But the story of the game was Keontae George, the rookie, and Kelly Olynyk, the former Miami Heat, kicking our ass. So, yep, that's it. That's all I have for this. The Miami Heat, again, are going to be without Jimmy Butler most likely when they go to LA to play against the Clippers or the Lakers. I'm not sure who they play first, but yeah, unfortunate night to lose, but then also unfortunate to lose Haywood and Jimmy. So hope they're not going to miss too much time. Hopefully we can get them back on this trip, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good night.